Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 920. So, to start off, this is kind of one of those funny episodes for me where pacing-wise there wasn't a whole lot that happened in the episode, but despite that, despite very little actually being covered or whatnot in the episode itself, I still found it enjoyable, and it's not even just in this episode alone either, because I remember last week and dare I say even a couple even a couple episodes like in the past couple weeks as well. Even a couple episodes in the past in the past couple weeks too. Uh, I remember watching those episodes and kind of feeling the same. Pacing wise, it wasn't the greatest, but still enjoyable. And honestly, I think could be the best way to describe Wano in the anime right now. Wano in the anime, it has the usual problems that are typical of basically Toei. But but Toei themselves have gotten better at kind of rolling with the punches, and even in its slowest episodes still attempt to make things flow a lot better. Like for instance, even with I think we can all agree that the worst arc in terms of pacing is going to be Dressrosa. But but it isn't even that. It's just it really didn't. But Dressrosa in itself, it didn't know how to make things flow properly, even with the poor pacing. But with Wano, Toei seems to kind of roll with the idea of poor pacing and just make it flow better. I don't know who's like the major directing person in charge of the Wano arc, but whoever it is he's whoever the major directing force of the Wano arc is, he's doing he's doing a really good job at rolling with the at rolling with things and letting and giving the anime even in its slowest moments a nice flow, I think. Um, Now, having said that, I feel where this episode really shined was with Sanji and giving him a moment that in some respects could be a return to form for his character, because one thing that's arguably been a little flanderized post time skip with Sanji is just how flirtatious he can be, which is still here in this episode. But one thing we also touch on something even more important: Sanji's temperament when you disrespect food. You do that shit in front of him, and you better pray to whatever god you worship, because he's gonna kick your ass hard. You may as well be dead. It like, and that's exactly what we pretty much got in this episode. We got pretty much Sanji. We basically we basically got to see that part of Sanji, the part of Sanji that we pretty much that honestly made us like him even more than the whole flirtatious part is just his love of food and how much he hates it when food is disrespected. It was brought back in force with this episode. And yeah, honestly, I'm pretty much glad that we pretty much got to see that side of Sanji again. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't there. I definitely think we got to see that a lot in in uh in Whole Cake Island, I'd argue. But yeah, with this, it just in this one episode, it just felt so good in order to see Sanji kind of pretty much care about the food again, and just remind us that yeah, this is also a part of his character. He's someone who does care about food, and does not like it when you pretty much disrespect food in front of him. Again, you do that shit, you're gonna die. Simple as that. So yeah, I'm really glad that particular part of who Sanji is as a character really got to shine in this episode. Um, it also it also showed a bit of contrast in how with and of course with that we also got to see pretty much Sanji kick some ass too. So there's that. But of course, even with that, another thing it also showed is a bit of contrast with pretty much with basically how the with how the pretty much how the pretty much yakuza have operated now compared to back then. Like if you remember back then, we were basically told of basically how noble and how generous yakuza were, but here they're a lot more brutal and they're a lot more brutal and they're a lot more like just don't and they just like terrorize the citizens every turn, which again is a bit of a contrast and compared to how what we've been told about how they were way back when, and and again with us like getting a little more interaction with Old Man Hyo, yeah, and yeah, let's talk about the new character we get introduced to in this episode, to one of them anyway, Toko, and yeah, Frankie saying it's weird she was both laughing and crying is definitely an understatement. Because for those who are only watching the anime, the reason she's always smiling, even when it looks like even when she's crying, is not a character quirk, but actually in itself an underlying plot point. And I'm not, I'm not gonna lie, seeing her laugh with the Straw Hats only brought back a lot of my old rage, even more, like a lot of my old rage, even more even more that I had, like, and I'm also feeling even a little more enraged than I had felt when the reason for like pretty much Toko always smiling is eventually going to be revealed. Like I definitely have a lot more rage for this. I have like knowing in context what's going on. I have a lot more rage for what's going on like pretty much now than when it was first revealed in the manga. Um, but I've already probably said too much already. So beyond that, all I will say is Orochi, Kaido, Doflamingo, go fuck yourselves. And and please, guys, if you watch this episode, don't spoil. Guys, if you have a Crunchyroll account and if you have a Crunchyroll account and have read the manga, please don't spoil. Please don't spoil it, guys, because like someone on the Crunchyroll, I saw someone on the Crunchyroll site had typed a comment that was basically pretty much spoiling the reveal. And please don't do that. It kind of so seeing it just kind of annoyed me a bit. So don't do that, guys. Um, one odd little thing I'd like to bring up though with this episode is the color palette. And obviously, ever since Wano, the color palette has always been great. It's always been bright, but this episode in particular looked especially bright, and in some ways even set the mood of the scenes better than previous episodes. Like that whole sunset feel from like Toko's flashback of meeting Usopp. That was beautiful. Like just pretty much the pretty much the warm oranges, yellow kind of like sunset feel. That was kind of great. It was a really great it was a really great scene, and it just kind of it just it made you feel like just that like the colors like the colors the colors did good at making you feel emotion. I'd say is the best way to describe it, honestly. Um, and we also get a nice little preemptive, I guess you could say, walk to battle with Sanji's group in the episode. So yeah, it was a little badass, like seeing like Sanji, Robin, Frankie, and Usopp just kind of walking to the castle to carry out their plan. So yeah, so a nice little preemptive like walk from walk to battle before we get the actual like walk to battle with the Straw Hats, with the whole Straw Hat crew. Um, on top of which is accompanied by getting somewhat of an introduction to a woman named Komurasaki, who's considered to be the top respected Korazan, or basically Oiran in Wano. And Yeah, with her introduction, a lot of the pieces of this arc are gonna really start falling into place. Like just with her introduction alone, I'm kind of like really kind of kicking myself that I didn't pick up on this on a lot what would be revealed with her later on sooner. But yeah. So yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Twitter, Facebook, and list your Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.